On the eastern coast of Florida, nestled between the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian River, lies a vast expanse of land dedicated to humanity's greatest adventure. This is the Kennedy Space Center. It's not just a place, it's an idea made real. Covering more than 144,000 acres of land and water, this incredible facility has served as America's primary launch center for human spaceflight since 1968. It's a place where dreams take flight, where science and imagination converge to propel us beyond the confines of our home world. It's owned by the United States government and operated by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. KSC is more than just a collection of buildings and launch pads. It's a testament to our relentless curiosity and our unyielding desire to explore the unknown. The center's role is simple, yet profound: to prepare and launch the missions that carry our explorers, our technology, and our hopes into the cosmos. Here, rockets are pieced together with painstaking precision. Astronauts train for the rigors of space, and scientists orchestrate missions that unravel the secrets of the universe. From this very spot, we've reached for the moon, built a laboratory in orbit, and sent robotic emissaries to distant planets. The air itself seems to buzz with the energy of past triumphs and future possibilities. The Kennedy Space Center is a symbol of what we can achieve when we unite our minds and spirits toward a common, audacious goal, a beacon that shines brightly, guiding our way to the stars. The sheer scale of the Kennedy Space Center is difficult to comprehend. It's a sprawling complex where nature and technology coexist in a delicate balance. Much of its land is a designated wildlife refuge, home to alligators, bald eagles, and sea turtles. This harmony between the wild and the engineered serves as a powerful reminder of the planet we seek to understand and protect through our cosmic journeys. The center is a city unto itself, with its own roads, power infrastructure, and a dedicated workforce of thousands of engineers, scientists, and technicians. Every component, every procedure, every person plays a vital part in the grand symphony of space exploration that unfolds here day after day. The story of KSC is our story. It represents the pinnacle of human ingenuity and the enduring spirit of exploration that has defined our species for millennia. It's a place where we confronted immense challenges, suffered heartbreaking losses, and celebrated monumental victories that echoed across the globe. As we stand in the present, on this day, August 6, 2025, the Kennedy Space Center is not merely a relic of a bygone era. It's alive, vibrant, and actively shaping our future in space. It's the bridge between the pioneering legacy of the past and the limitless potential of tomorrow. A launch pad not just for rockets, but for the dreams of generations to come. The origins of the Kennedy Space Center are rooted in a time of intense global competition, a period we now call the space race. In the late 1950s and early 1960s, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a technological and ideological contest, and space became the ultimate arena. The journey began nearby, at what was then known as Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. This military installation was where America first sent its satellites and astronauts into orbit. But as the nation's ambitions grew grander, it became clear that a new, larger, and more advanced facility was needed to handle the colossal rockets required to reach the moon. The government sought a place with open ocean to the east for safe launches, and the Florida coast was the perfect candidate. In 1962, NASA began acquiring the land on Merritt Island, adjacent to Cape Canaveral, creating a new civilian spaceport dedicated purely to peaceful exploration. This new facility was initially called the Launch Operations Center. Its creation was a direct response to a challenge laid down by President John F. Kennedy in 1961. He stood before Congress and committed the nation to an audacious goal: landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth before the decade was out. This declaration ignited a firestorm of innovation and mobilized the country's resources on an unprecedented scale. The center was born from this national will, a physical manifestation of Kennedy's vision. Tragically, President Kennedy would not live to see his dream realized. Following his assassination in November 1963, a grieving nation sought to honor his legacy. Just days after his death, his successor, President Lyndon B. Johnson, announced that the Launch Operations Center and the nearby military station at Cape Canaveral would be renamed in his honor. The entire area became known as the John F. Kennedy Space Center. This act forever linked the president who set our sights on the moon with the very ground from which we would embark on that historic journey. The name itself became a powerful symbol of aspiration, courage, and the peaceful pursuit of knowledge. The establishment of the Kennedy Space Center marked a pivotal moment in our history. It represented a shift from military-led rocket tests to a civilian-led program focused on scientific discovery and human exploration. It was a declaration to the world that America's journey into space was an endeavor for all humanity. The center was designed and built with a single monumental purpose in mind: to serve as the gateway for the Apollo program. Every road, every building, and every launch pad was conceived to support the most ambitious voyage ever undertaken by our species, a journey that would forever change our perspective of our place in the cosmos. The Apollo program was the reason the Kennedy Space Center was built. It was a mission of staggering complexity and ambition, born from a national promise. To send humans 240,000 miles to the moon, a rocket of immense power was needed, the Saturn V. This machine was a titan, standing taller than a 36-story building and generating more power than 85 Hoover dams. To handle such a beast, NASA had to invent an entirely new way of launching rockets. They constructed Launch Complex 39, a marvel of engineering featuring two massive launch pads, 39A and 39B, each a concrete fortress designed to withstand the fury of liftoff. The Apollo era transformed KSC into the world's premier spaceport. The process was a carefully choreographed dance of colossal machinery. The Saturn V rocket was assembled vertically, piece by piece, inside the cavernous vehicle assembly building. This structure is so immense that it has its own weather systems inside. Once fully stacked, the rocket was mounted on a mobile launcher platform and slowly carried to one of the launch pads by a machine called the Crawler Transporter, a tracked vehicle the size of a baseball infield that creeps along at 1 mile per hour. This meticulous process ensured the rocket was protected from the elements until the final moments before launch, a system that defined the operational philosophy of KSC for decades to come. The culmination of all this effort arrived on July 16, 1969. On that historic morning, the world held its breath as the crew of Apollo 11, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, sat atop the fully fueled Saturn V at Launch Pad 39A. The countdown reached 0, and with a thunderous roar that shook the very ground, the rocket ignited, pushing against the Earth with 7.6 million pounds of thrust. It climbed slowly at first, then with astonishing speed, a brilliant spear of fire ascending into the blue Florida sky. The Kennedy Space Center had successfully sent its first explorers on their way to another world, fulfilling the promise made just 8 years earlier. 4 days later, on July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong took his first step onto the lunar surface, uttering the immortal words, "That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." Back on Earth, the launch controllers at KSC watched with pride and relief. They had done their part. The Apollo program continued with 5 more successful lunar landings, each one beginning its journey from the sacred ground of Launch Complex 39. The Kennedy Space Center had become synonymous with this golden age of exploration, cementing its place in history as the point of departure for humanity's first steps into the wider solar system. After the final Apollo mission in 1972, a new chapter began at the Kennedy Space Center. NASA envisioned a different kind of spacecraft, one that could launch like a rocket, operate in orbit like a spaceship, and land on a runway like a glider. This was the Space Shuttle, a reusable vehicle designed to make spaceflight more routine and affordable. KSC underwent a major transformation to support this new program. The launch pads and the vehicle assembly building, originally built for the Saturn V, were modified to accommodate the shuttle's unique configuration, which consisted of the orbiter, a large external fuel tank, and 2 solid rocket boosters. The Space Shuttle era began on April 12, 1981, with the launch of Columbia from Pad 39A. For nearly 3 decades, the fleet of orbiters, Columbia, Challenger, Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavour, flew from KSC, carrying astronauts and cargo into low Earth orbit. These missions deployed satellites, conducted groundbreaking scientific experiments, and serviced the Hubble Space Telescope. The shuttle turned KSC into a bustling spaceport with a regular flight schedule. The program's greatest achievement was the construction of the International Space Station, a collaborative project of unprecedented scale. Dozens of shuttle missions ferried the modules, trusses, and solar arrays that make up the sprawling orbital outpost. However, the shuttle era was also marked by profound tragedy. On January 28, 1986, just 73 seconds after liftoff, the Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart in the skies above the Atlantic, resulting in the loss of all 7 crew members. The disaster sent shockwaves through NASA and the nation, grounding the shuttle fleet for nearly 3 years. It was a stark and painful reminder of the inherent dangers of spaceflight. The investigation that followed led to significant changes in NASA's safety culture and management structure, reinforcing the idea that at KSC, vigilance and safety must always be the highest priorities. The memory of the Challenger crew, and later the Columbia crew in 2003, is deeply woven into the fabric of the center. Despite the risks, the Space Shuttle program continued to push the boundaries of what was possible. KSC was central to the assembly of the International Space Station, a permanent human presence in space and a symbol of international cooperation. Shuttle crews transported the massive components built by countries around the world, and astronauts performed daring spacewalks to piece them together in the vacuum of space. When the final shuttle mission, STS-135, landed in 2011, it marked the end of an era. The Kennedy Space Center had successfully launched 135 missions over 30 years, forever changing our access to and understanding of space. With the retirement of the Space Shuttle in 2011, the Kennedy Space Center entered a period of profound transition. For the first time in decades, NASA did not have its own vehicle to carry astronauts into space. This could have been an ending, but instead, it became a new beginning. NASA embarked on a bold new strategy, partnering with private American companies to transport cargo and, eventually, crew to the International Space Station. KSC transformed itself from an exclusive government facility into a bustling multi-user spaceport, leasing its historic launch pads and infrastructure to a new generation of aerospace pioneers. The most prominent of these new partners is SpaceX, led by entrepreneur Elon Musk. In 2014, NASA leased the historic launch pad 39A, the same pad from which Apollo 11 and the first space shuttle launched, to the company. SpaceX has since revolutionized the launch industry with its reusable Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy rockets. The sight of a Falcon 9 first-stage booster returning to land vertically near its launch site has become a regular and spectacular event on the Space Coast. This commercial partnership has allowed NASA to focus its resources on deep space exploration, while ensuring a steady and cost-effective supply line to the ISS. This new model has revitalized the Kennedy Space Center. It is no longer just a NASA center. It is a hub for a thriving commercial space ecosystem. Companies like Boeing, with its Starliner capsule, and Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, which is building a massive rocket factory just outside the center's gates, are all part of this new era. These partnerships are fostering innovation, creating high-tech jobs, and driving down the cost of access to space. On May 30, 2020, this new strategy came to fruition when SpaceX launched the Demo 2 mission from Pad 39A, carrying NASA astronauts to the ISS. It was the first crewed launch from American soil since the final shuttle flight. The shift to a multi-user spaceport represents a fundamental change in how we approach space exploration. It is a fusion of government experience and commercial agility. The Kennedy Space Center now serves as both a landlord and a partner, providing the world-class facilities and expertise needed for these new ventures to succeed. This dynamic environment ensures that the center remains at the forefront of spaceflight, launching not only NASA's grand missions to other worlds, but also a diverse array of commercial satellites, scientific payloads, and private astronaut missions. The dream of space is no longer confined to a single government agency. It is now open to a wider universe of innovators. The Kennedy Space Center is not just an operational spaceport, it's also a captivating destination that invites the public to witness the epic story of space exploration firsthand. The Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex is a world-class attraction, offering an immersive and inspiring journey through the past, present, and future of our adventures in the cosmos. It's operated for NASA by a private contractor and is entirely funded by visitor revenue. Here, you can walk among giants in the Rocket Garden, a stunning outdoor exhibit featuring real and replica rockets from the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs, all standing vertically as if they're ready for launch. One of the complex's most powerful exhibits is the Space Shuttle Atlantis. After its final mission, the orbiter was permanently retired to a custom-built, multi-story facility. Visitors are greeted with a dramatic reveal, seeing the actual spacecraft suspended in midair, its payload bay doors open as if it were still orbiting the Earth. The exhibit tells the comprehensive story of the 30-year shuttle program, complete with interactive displays and simulators that allow you to experience what it was like to launch and land the orbiter. It's a moving tribute to the thousands of people who designed, built, and flew this incredible machine. Another highlight is the Apollo Saturn V Center, which is accessible only by a bus tour that takes you through the operational areas of KSC. Inside this massive building, you're confronted with the sheer scale of a fully restored Saturn V rocket, the most powerful rocket ever built, laid horizontally above your head. The exhibit meticulously recreates the drama of the moon race, culminating in a simulation of the Apollo 8 launch sequence experienced from inside a replica of the original firing room. You can even touch a real piece of the moon, a tangible connection to another world brought back by the Apollo astronauts. The visitor complex is also a place of education and inspiration for the next generation of explorers. It offers numerous STEM-focused educational programs, summer camps, and even opportunities to have lunch with a veteran astronaut. For those who want to witness history in the making, the complex provides the closest public viewing areas for rocket launches, allowing you to feel the ground shake and hear the thunderous roar as a new mission begins its journey to the stars. The Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex is more than an amusement park. It's a museum of the future, a place where the story of humanity's reach for the cosmos is told with passion and authenticity. Behind the public-facing exhibits and the dramatic launches lies the immense and intricate infrastructure that makes spaceflight possible. The Kennedy Space Center is a masterpiece of large-scale engineering, a place of truly monumental structures. The most iconic of these is the Vehicle Assembly Building, or VAB. Completed in 1966 for the Apollo program, the VAB is one of the largest buildings in the world by volume. Its high bay doors are the largest in the world, taking 45 minutes to open or close. It was here that the mighty Saturn V rockets were stacked, and later, where the space shuttle components were assembled before being rolled out to the launch pad. Moving these colossal rockets from the VAB to the launch pad, a journey of over 3 miles, required the invention of a new kind of vehicle, the crawler transporter. 2 of these machines were built in the 1960s, and they remain in service today, having been upgraded to carry the next generation of super heavy lift rockets. These crawlers are behemoths of steel, weighing 6 million pounds and powered by massive diesel engines. They move at a top speed of 1 mile per hour when loaded, ensuring a smooth and stable ride for their precious cargo. The crawlers are a testament to the durability and foresight of the Apollo-era engineers, a piece of living history still performing a critical role. The launch pads themselves, Launch Complex 39A and 39B, are not simple concrete platforms. They are complex structures with a web of systems designed to support a rocket before and during liftoff. They contain massive flame trenches to deflect the intense heat and energy of the rocket's exhaust, high-pressure water systems to suppress the powerful sound waves that could otherwise damage the vehicle, and towering structures with access arms to fuel the rocket and allow astronauts to board. Over the decades, these pads have been meticulously maintained and upgraded to accommodate different generations of rockets, from the Saturn V to the Space Shuttle, and now to the Falcon and SLS rockets. All of these elements, the VAB, the crawlers, the launch pads, and the miles of specialized roadways, are part of a cohesive system designed with one goal in mind: the safe and successful launch of vehicles into space. This infrastructure is the backbone of the Kennedy Space Center, the silent, powerful machinery that turns concepts into reality. It is a cathedral of engineering, built by one generation and adapted by the next, a physical legacy that continues to enable our exploration of the cosmos. The sheer scale and ingenuity of this place are as inspiring as the missions it launches. The spirit of Apollo is alive and well at the Kennedy Space Center, reborn in a new and ambitious program called Artemis. Named after the twin sister of Apollo in Greek mythology, the Artemis program aims to return humans to the moon, this time to establish a sustainable, long-term presence. This is not about planting flags and footprints. It's about building a base for science and exploration that will serve as a stepping stone for the next giant leap sending astronauts to Mars. KSC is once again the primary hub for this monumental endeavor, its historic infrastructure being modernized to support a new generation of deep space missions. The centerpiece of the Artemis program is the Space Launch System, or SLS. This is the most powerful rocket NASA has ever built, even surpassing the legendary Saturn V in thrust. Like its predecessors, the SLS is assembled inside the Vehicle Assembly Building and will launch from the historic Launch Pad 39B, which has been extensively upgraded for this new era. Atop the SLS sits the Orion Crew Capsule, a state-of-the-art spacecraft designed to carry astronauts on long-duration missions far from Earth. The first uncrewed test flight of this system, Artemis 1, successfully launched from KSC in 2022, circling the Moon and returning safely to Earth, paving the way for future crewed missions. The Artemis program is about more than just returning to the lunar surface. It also includes the construction of the Gateway, a small space station that will orbit the Moon. This outpost will serve as a command center, a science laboratory, and a temporary home for astronauts before they descend to the Moon. Components for the Gateway will be launched by commercial partners, showcasing the continued synergy between NASA and the private space industry. Artemis missions will land the first woman and the first person of color on the Moon, inspiring a new, diverse generation of explorers, scientists, and engineers. The Kennedy Space Center is at the very heart of this future. Its workforce is preparing the SLS rockets, processing the Orion capsules, and developing the ground systems needed to launch and recover these missions. The center is once again a focal point of national pride and purpose, just as it was during the Apollo era. The goal is clear: to use the Moon as a proving ground for the technologies and procedures we will need to survive and thrive on Mars. The journey to the Red Planet begins here in Florida, on the same hallowed ground from which we first reached for the heavens. The Kennedy Space Center's impact extends far beyond the boundaries of its fences. It's a powerful economic engine for the state of Florida and for the nation. The center and its surrounding aerospace industry support tens of thousands of high-tech jobs, from engineers and scientists to welders and technicians. It fuels innovation, driving advancements in materials science, computing, robotics, and medicine that benefit all of us here on Earth. The presence of KSC has cultivated a vibrant community of thinkers and doers, attracting talent and investment from around the world and cementing the region's identity as the Space Coast. Scientifically, the contributions launched from KSC are immeasurable. The Hubble Space Telescope, deployed by the Space Shuttle Discovery, has revolutionized our understanding of the universe, providing breathtaking images of distant galaxies and nebulae. Probes sent from this coast have visited every planet in our solar system, landed rovers on Mars to search for signs of past life, and journeyed into interstellar space. The research conducted aboard the International Space Station, assembled piece by piece through missions from KSC, has led to breakthroughs in human health, materials, and our ability to live and work in space for long periods. Culturally, the Kennedy Space Center holds a unique and cherished place in the American identity. It's a symbol of what we can achieve when we are at our best, when we are bold, innovative, and united in a common purpose. The launches from Cape Canaveral and KSC have been defining moments for generations, events that brought the nation and the world together in shared awe and wonder. The center embodies the spirit of the frontier, the relentless human drive to explore what lies over the next horizon. It reminds us that our potential is limited only by our imagination and our will to act. Therefore, the Kennedy Space Center is more than just a place. It's a living monument to human curiosity and perseverance. It's a testament to our ability to overcome immense challenges, to learn from our failures, and to reach for goals that seem impossible. It's a place where science fiction becomes science fact. As we look to the future, to new missions to the Moon and Mars, KSC will continue to be our primary gateway to the cosmos. It's a bridge between Earth and the heavens, a place where our terrestrial dreams are given wings of fire and sent soaring into the final frontier. Its legacy is not just in our history books, it's written in the stars.
Ready for a history adventure? Join our community. Subscribe to World History, smash that like, share with friends, and drop your thoughts below. Let's make history together. See you in the comments.